Saying special good morning to the listeners. Good morning also to those of you viewing GBN TV, those of you via our social media platforms, whether it's a Facebook page, YouTube channels. Good morning and welcome. It's To The Point. I'm your host, GT, and it's Thursday. It's the 6th day of August, and you know, it's still business as usual, so how you take it. Let me say good morning to my guests this morning. We have representatives from the RGPF, the, of course, Community Relations Department, and also members of the Child Protection Authority. You know, I have to blame Innocent this morning. I ain't get nobody's name before I'm starting the program this morning, so I'll give you folks the opportunity to introduce yourselves. Of course, let's start off with the police. Say the police is all first, right?
Of course.
Let's start off with the police this morning. Let's hear from you.
All right. Well, good morning to your listeners and viewers out there in To The Point land. I would also like to welcome the returning nationals and visitors to our shows as well.
All right. Let's hear from you.
Good morning. My name is Mrs. Sanjay Bartholomew.
Yes.
I work with the Child Protection Authority. I'm also a member of NADMA.
All right.
So,
All
yes.
Right.
Good morning, Grenada. I am Antolin Jones, employee of the Child Protection Authority.
All right.
And of course, I am Woman Police Constable 732 Saint, attached to Community Relations Department.
Right. So
Just
good morning to all the ladies. But I'm the Lord Gentleman inside here this morning. Everybody know GT, so that's how we go this morning. All right. Let's kick the conversation off with the Child Protection Authority, because it's important that we know that children are protected around this time of the year in terms of we know we're into the season. Parents are sometimes get themselves all caught up in the activities that are going on, and for some reason children get neglected. Well, we don't want that to happen, and we're hoping that doesn't happen. Now, if to start it off in this particular way, what is the most risk children will face during, especially carnival and large crowds and so on? Let's start it off like that this one. I'm throwing that out to you folks from the Child Protection Authority.
The highest risk in carnival time is, as we notice, is a lack of supervision, attention for parents. So we have a lot of situations where children either get lost in crowds or left unsupervised while persons go out to enjoy themselves. So it's basically just a beacon to parents to ensure that you always have an eye on your children. If you can't be present, ensure that somebody responsible that you can trust is supervising your children.
And that's a key word there. Trust is always important, especially if you're going to leave them maybe home alone, and there's a neighbor which is a trusted individual.
Exactly.
My next question, still with the Child Protection Authority: how can parents ensure that their children remain visible and safe during, especially you probably take them to the Tongue of St. George Juve morning, parade of the bands and so forth? How can parents ensure that their children remain safe? Remain visible, one, and safe at the same time.
It takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
Everybody, I think, should, as a parent, as a human being, as an adult, just keep an eye out. It doesn't have to be your child. It doesn't have to be a family member. Just pay attention and, be vigilant.
Should parents take that particular opportunity to, or say that special, identification method? Folks may think it might be old school. I remember back my parents had pinned something on me. It doesn't mean I'm loud, but it's just a method of what do you recommend for parents, to use on their children as a form of identification? We know we're in a technological age right now. Parents may want to give them a cell phone, may want to give them this, but what would you recommend to parents as a method of identification for their children, if it's some way or the other?
We need to give children more credit than we give them. Children are very, very smart. We need to educate children. I was in a situation some time ago, last year Carnival, where a child got separated from their adult. And that child was able to say who his mother was, who his father was, where he was from, the phone number of the parent, and he was 7 years.
Right.
So I would encourage parents to teach their children. Right. In case you get separated, this is who you say you are, this is my mommy, this is a phone number for me, the simplest number, even though you might think your number is too hard, but grandma number, uncle number, so that in case that child gets separated, that child could at least tell the police, tell a responsible adult, this is my name and this is where I'm from. So some kind of, liaison could happen, and that child could be reunited with some type of family.
All right. So in technically, you're recommending it's appropriate time for them to be having that conversation with their sons and daughters right now.
It's very important to have a family plan.
Yeah.
Whenever you go out with your children, especially in festive seasons, in Carnival, Christmas, any activities, that you have a conversation, that you put a plan together. What should happen? Because I'm with Nama, will touch on this, because we are also in the hurricane season.
Yes.
And we get caught up with all the festivities that's happening now, and we tend to not be cognizant that we are also in, disaster season. Yeah. So we need to have these conversations with our children, with families on a whole, to put a plan together for whatever we're doing during this season.
Tell me this also. In respect to citizens in general, let me see how I could frame this in that particular way for you. What steps should citizens themselves take to spot unsupervised or distressed children? We see that from time to time, children walking around. You did mention that, give children the respect. Now they know what's going on. You understand? But as citizens who may have noticed that there's a little boy seem to be, he's been a little bit delusional for some reason or the other, because he probably doesn't know where he's at. What sort of steps should citizens do when a situation like that develops?
Well, GT, I'd like to come in here and speak about the importance of course, having the family plan, having a talk with the children before they leave the event. Also knowing the rendezvous point, so the place of where in the event that the child gets lost, they know exactly who to go to or where to go. And I think that's where the police usually comes in. Okay. During this period, you have a lot more police presence on the streets and at the activities. And the officers are usually strategically placed in such a way whereby at the event, whether it's at the stands or within the different places within the venue, there are officers easily visible. Yeah. Throughout the year, we have been going into the various schools, into the various communities, speaking to children from varying ages, so they already know how to identify a police officer. At that point, we would encourage persons to inform the nearest police officer you may see. From time to time, we will have our mobile command center. Yes. So that's an area whereby the police officers would be stationed. So at the stadium, we'll be at a particular point. We encourage persons to get to know exactly where that particular location is. Also, you can utilize, when at activities, you can utilize the PA system as well, just to make it known or make parents aware or alert that, hey, the child is missing. But the steps that can be taken is, for one, to report it to the police. We do work hand in hand with CPA, social services, and we will ensure that the necessary steps are taken. Also, at the events, we usually would have a particular place whereby we will have the children in our care until we can locate their parents. The parent or the guardian.
All right. We drew for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. To the Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back. Don't touch it out.
Cultural Foundation warmly encourages everyone to celebrate and enjoy the excitement of Carnival in a spirit of unity, respect, and national pride. We kindly appeal to members of the public to respect our masqueraders and revelers by refraining from joining bands unless you are properly costumed and or registered as a player of that band. We also recognize and commend the invaluable role that DJs play in promoting Grenadian music and creating a vibrant atmosphere that makes our carnival so special. At the same time, spectators look forward to experiencing the authentic songs and traditions that define our unique carnival. The rhythmic beating of the jab-jab drums, the chants of the chutney, the powerful stomping of our vehicle, and the captivating display of our patches. In the true spirit of Grenadian Carnival, we respectfully ask our DJs to pause the music as bands approach, allowing masqueraders, especially our traditional mass bands, to present their performances without interruptions so that everyone can fully appreciate these treasured cultural expressions. Together, let us celebrate a carnival where locals and visitors alike can immerse themselves in the richness, authenticity, and vibrant traditions that make Grenada Carnival a truly unforgettable experience. Let us claim this as our own. This is a message to this Grenada.
Plus I me vex money, I'm back in me bag on this road. Road, cause the season open.
You may not always have your ATM card on you, but that shouldn't stop you from accessing your money. With Republic Bank's cardless cash service, you can withdraw cash from any ATM without using your debit card. It's simple to use. Just log into your Republic Bank app, select cardless cash, enter the amount you need and generate the one-time code. At the ATM, enter your code, confirm your details and you're done. No card needed. It's useful when you left your wallet behind and when you need to send cash to someone else securely. With cardless cash, you stay in control and in touch with your money wherever you are. Republic Bank, ready for life, every step.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. Once again, it's To The Point, Classic Radio GBN TV. Once again, as mentioned in the intro, we do have folks representing the Child Protection Authority and the, of course, Community Relation Department of the RGPF. Ladies, welcome back. I want to go up this segment with the RGPF. This segment. What are some of the top tips you want to say, especially for homeowners also? To secure their property and so forth before heading out into the various activities?
Well, GT, of course, the preparation, it starts at home, ensuring that our children are kept safe, and of course, ensuring that our premises or residents are also, secured properly. What we'd encourage persons to do is to ensure that, of course, ensuring that your windows and your doors are properly locked. So that doesn't entail using the wrought iron barricade as a form of protection or the window mesh. When we say ensure it's properly and secured or protected, what we mean is ensuring that your doors and windows are locked in such a way whereby there isn't an entry point for person to get in. Also ensuring that there is proper lighting. The proper lighting, it has to be strategic as well, because based on where there's proper lighting, sometimes it creates a desirous atmosphere for persons to lurk and want to get in.
The light on, I can see, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So it has to be strategic. There are the solar panel lights,
yes,
where most of them are motion sensor activated.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we would encourage persons to invest in those along with cameras. Mm-hmm. The cameras act as a deterrent to prevent anyone from wanting to conduct any vandalism or any theft on our property. Of course, ensuring that we have smoke alarms in the event that we attend any activities. We're going shopping. Sometimes we may happen to leave a particular something plugged in, or hopefully not, but sometimes we may forget that we have the stove on. We want to ensure that we have those security systems in place just to give us an awareness or make us make us or others aware of our surroundings. Similarly, we would encourage persons to have a lookout. So your next door neighbor. When you're leaving, we would recommend that you inform them. Just, throw an out for you.
Trustworthy enough also.
Yeah, exactly. Trustworthy enough neighbor, of course. Additionally, with the keys, we do not recommend leaving it under the mat or in the floor pot on the windowsill. If you share your residence with someone else, we obviously recommend ensuring that person has a spare key.
Okay. Now, personal protection is also very important. You go into the various activities, how can individuals protect themselves, especially for, like their phones and their wallets and so from, individuals who may want to prey on them, the pickpockets, if we could say the local terms.
Yeah. Around this time, festive seasons altogether, you usually get a lot of those persons wanting to conduct nefarious crimes, We recommend not necessarily walking with your entire bank account in your pocket, Save. You can keep some at home, you can keep some in the bank, wherever it may be, but not necessarily walk with all your cash. Similarly with the jewelry. When you're going to events, you don't want to make yourself a target. So minimal jewelry it's best. When using the ATMs as well, you don't want to be in an area whereby it's not properly lit. Try using the ATMs whereby there are persons around, but also being conscious and aware of your surroundings. Ensure that you secure or you protect your banking information, especially when you're inputting your key, your pins. Also, try to use those where there are cameras available. I think most places there are cameras available near the ATMs as well. For your valuables, persons may decide they want to take their vehicles instead of using the public transport. You also want to ensure that your vehicles are kept safe, ensuring that's in a properly lit area. For persons that may have the visors and so forth, I know that sometimes they may want to leave a crack in the window. We do not recommend that because persons could use that as an opportunity to tamper with your vehicle and try to access your vehicle. And similarly to your home, we want to ensure that you don't leave any valuables in your vehicle. So your clothing, if you're switching out of clothes, ensure that it's not easily seen in your transportation.
All right. I want to come back to the Child Protection Authority, and I think something I missed in the first segment. Now, how can the public, report child, or neglect, to, especially endangerment, especially during the season?
We presently have a hotline. The contact number is 533-6990. There is always somebody available.
All right.
You contact the hotline.
Even if it's Juve morning.
It doesn't matter where it is. 4 o'clock in the morning, call the hotline.
All right.
Or reach out to the police and they would normally contact us directly.
All right. Now, how important it is for folk to, of course, report these neglected children and so forth during the season? With comparison with the Child Protection Authority and the police, how important is for to do that? Report these matters.
Very, very, very important. And I always say, even if you have a notion in your mind, even if you suspect, don't wait until you have proof, for example, although that would help. But if you have a suspicion that something might be wrong, that a child may be in danger, I would suggest that you make a report.
All right.
GT, I also believe that it takes a village, I remember growing up, my neighbor would always look out for me, whether it be I'm going to school, coming from school, going to an event. If she may notice that I may not be wearing the most appropriate clothing, she would always inform me, it's best to go home and change. Not that it's revealing, but sometimes, the arm out, persons, they don't necessarily, well, at that time, they were not for having the string top, so to speak. So she never liked seeing me with a string top. So it takes a village. So I think it's mandatory for all persons, not just the police, the parents, the persons within the community, the event planners as well, the promoters, the persons at the gate, the security officers. It is mandatory for us to check in with the children and ensure that they're kept safe. Whilst we're on that topic as well, it's also important that we ensure the children are dressed appropriately for the events, ensure that they attend child-appropriate events. I know that my parents used to take me to watch the Jab Jab and the Juve. And And it was a spectacle, also the old mass as well. But I dare not play because it's just not something that's best for the minors. I know right now we have children in the band playing as well. And if that's the case, we recommend ensuring that the guardian or an adult is with them as well, because you don't want for them getting involved in adult behaviors and adult activities in those activities.
Yeah. You mentioned that, it takes a village to reach it, but we all know that times has changed. No longer do individuals within communities look out for individuals as they used to. Maybe a couple of years ago, and I'm still using a close margin for that. But times has changed, and we know folks are not looking out for each other as they should. As I say, and we would say locally, everybody's minding their own business. How important is it for people to change that particular concept about themselves now and look out? Especially, I'm focusing on the children, the minors. We see them attending events that we know are not within their age range. Some of them we know that maybe you may know, I know this individual born. Their parents may be at work or their parents may be at home and they are out at events. What kind of, how does the responsibility end? Where does that responsibility pick up, especially from a police point of view and the child protection? I give you both the opportunity to answer that.
GT, child protection is everyone's business. It should be, everyone's business. So the minute time that you notice that your children is at home, it's vacation time, they're on their gadgets, it's best for you to start searching, start looking at the gadgets to see what conversations they're having and who they're speaking with. You can tell as well if a child may be planning to go in a particular place, because sometimes you may notice that they take out a particular outfit, or they may be requesting to go particular places and they're returning certain items. You have to make those checks. It's not just for when it's back to school. Those checks have to be made as well during the vacation period. The same thing applies with when they're attending activities. If they may be accompanying their friends, you want to ensure that you keep in contact with them. Call them from time to time. Give them a time to return home, especially when it's minors. If you notice that time is approaching and they're not near, you try to get in contact with them, and also have their friends or whoever that they may be going, making sure you have a contact number for them as well in the event that you're unable to reach them. I know some persons may have GPS tracking for their children. It may be a bit excessive, but sometimes it's beneficial given this day and age. It doesn't stop with just the parents. Again, the event planners, the promoters. If you notice that if you notice someone appeared to be a minor, you ask for an ID. If they don't happen to have an ID, do not allow them into the event.
But sometimes we don't see that particular practice being implemented. Sometimes you go to events and you may know of someone. I may know this individual's daughter, and I know she's not within the age. Male, youngsters these days, they look like if they're an adult already, just their bare looks. But sometimes it's important we don't see that practice being put out as where IDs are recommended for certain events and so forth. Now, from a child protection authority point of view, how important is that?
I think it's very, very important, because a minor is a minor. You understand? And an adult is an adult, right? Piggybacking off of what the officer said, I want to just go back to what my grandmother and mother used to say: when your neighbor house on fire, wet yours. So because a lot of the times we look at things and we think, oh, they're not my business. That is them over there. But it's all our businesses, because whatever happens in a community affects everyone in the community in some way or the other. So we have to start thinking about everybody else, because it becomes selfish when we only look at ourselves and our children. Remember, those children are friends with somebody else's child. We may not be friends, but they might be friends. And we need to know also who our children are friends with. We need to know who their friends are. So we might see a child that goes to party, our children may not go. But because that friend is going, it may influence our child. That's where the who assembleism comes into play. Wanting to go now to those events, so that child goes. We as adults, we have a responsibility. Whether the event planners, whether the people at the gate, whether whoever, we have a responsibility and we have to be held accountable. You understand? Because a child is a child, and if something was to happen to a child in your shoe, you would have to answer some questions also. How did that child get in? Why is that child there? You as a parent would have to answer questions also. Where were your child? Where were you? How come you didn't know? You understand? So a lot of responsibility has to be put on the parents and on those people that will have the shows. Because just in case, as I said before, anything happens, you would have to be held accountable for those children or those minors.
All right, so true. Now, I want to come back to the officer once again, because this could be a ticklish subject to management sometimes when we're talking about, the alcohol consumption. Most time when adults start drinking, they become uncontrollable. They when they get to that level of intoxication, they do things that is they don't do on a normal. You say, I never know GT could have done that way, because it's consumption. Now, how will law enforcement monitor this or manage this? I mean, in today's society, sometimes I know it could be a particular subject to manage it. But especially during that, how did law enforcement plan to deal with that?
GT, spice mass is our thing, a we thing, as we say in colloquial parlance. And we want to ensure that we're able to preserve the cultural art form. When we're on the ground, our intent is never to stop an event because of disorderly behavior. Or our intent is never to stop anyone whilst doing traffic checks because we just want to. Our intention at all times is to ensure that it's safety.
Yes.
Safety is our paramount importance. So when we're out there doing the traffic checks, we're checking for persons who may have, I know you're speaking about alcohol, but it goes various ways.
Yes.
For persons who may have, offensive weapons, persons who may be drinking and driving, persons who may be entering a particular location with particulars that should be provided, such as your driving, your license and your insurance. We're making checks for all these things. We are encouraging persons who will be indulging in the consumption of alcohol to stay within your limit. If you know that you can only stomach or handle one bottle of beer or one shot glass, stay within your limit. Don't try to keep up with your partner because you're drinking 4 and 5 beers. For persons who may be getting to a particular venue with the buddy system, you're carpooling, ensure you always have a designated driver, and that designated driver should not be drinking alcohol. We highly do not recommend that. Fatigue in itself, it is something from time to time that may happen, because right now it's the pumping season, as they say. Persons going from one event to the other. And we want to indulge persons who may be getting involved with these type of activities, partaking. If you know that you're consuming alcohol as well and you don't have a designated driver, we recommend not leaving the venue until you get proper rest.
Yes.
Also, drinking water, in and between the consumption of the alcohol. Now, scientists say, based on the body mass index, having 1 cup of water to 1 cup of alcohol, it could help when it comes to getting the water to your system. Others say it takes 24 hours. Yes. So it varies based on your body mass index.
Sometimes it gets you more drunk,
Right, you're right.
By drinking water,
it's like a chaser.
It's helping the increasing the proof of it.
Yeah.
That I have heard also.
Yeah, but it is important for you to stay hydrated all day long, throughout the festivities. It helps as well, because as you state, when you have the altered state of mind, you do questionable things. It's like you get supernatural powers. So we are encouraging persons to ensure that if you're consuming alcohol, for one, do not drink and drive, have a designated driver. If you know that you do not have a designated driver, we consider pulling up to the side to take some rest before you move to your destination, or even considering hiring a taxi.
I agree. I'm not sure if you could share that information with me, but I know there are probably individuals or listening to us this morning. There are penalties involved in everything that you do.
Yes.
I mean, I'm focusing a wee bit on the alcohol, but there are other, penalties. There are penalties for other mistakes that you may make.
Yes.
legal penalties for individuals, especially driving under the influence.
Right.
If you could share that information to me this morning, probably you could deter someone from wanting to think about doing that in particular.
Right. So there are varying penalties, GT. I do not have those off head right now, but I know that persons either could be fined or which is ticketed, because we do have the testers as well that will allow us to determine whether or not someone is actually going above the level of consumption, and I think that is at 70%. And just the same person could actually be charged and arrested.
All right. So when we see the police, of course, picking up the pace a wee bit, now that we are almost a couple of days within the height of the festival season, in terms of their vigilance towards drinking and driving, folks who have made that violent tendencies and so forth. Will we see that pace picked up a wee bit as we go through closer to the season?
Yes, in fact, we've started.
Yeah,
it has been a couple of weeks now. We have been campaigning. We're still all year round, and we still have been doing that. In hotspots, you will notice more officers within the cities, of course, the towns throughout. Whilst at carnival activities, you would spot more police presence on the ground.
Yes.
And it is a deterrent, but we also want to ensure that persons have respect for not just the law enforcement officers, but the persons who would be assisting us. So, for example, the security marshals, so the security persons that will be at the venues, for the party promoters, the DJs, and so forth. We know that they would sometimes give directives based on the information that we give them. We are encouraging persons as well to be respectful to them, and they are also part of the authority system. They may not be able to charge you, or they may not be able to ticket you in some cases, but they can transfer that information, and we can actually do what we're supposed to. As I said, the intention is not for us to sully anyone's carnival season. We're not there to police in such a way whereby persons cannot enjoy the festivities, but safety and peace is our watchword.
And you don't want to have to be celebrating your carnival within the confines of be locked up and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So when we come back, I want us to talk a little bit about avoiding violence. When we come back, stay with us, folks. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We'll be right back after the break.
Are you ready to take Parents, do you go to bed with the knowledge that your children are comfortably asleep in the next room? Or are they allowed to attend every fete advertised? You are responsible for the safety and well-being of your children, and it is your responsibility to know their whereabouts. Children should not be at adult events. Please guide your children, engage them in age-appropriate activities. Let us be spicy parents for this carnival season and beyond. S. Speak to your children about positive behavior. P. Pay attention to them at all times. I. Inspire good behavior in your children by also displaying good behavior. C. Check with your children. Always know their whereabouts. Y. You are responsible for your children. Maintain control to keep them safe. This is a message from the National Parenting Program, Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs.
Come and get your good for nothings, and I say,
Attention carnival lovers. As we gear up to celebrate Spice Mass, the Cannabis Secretariat has an important reminder for all residents and visitors. Smoking cannabis in public places is illegal. And remember, it's against the law to supply cannabis to anyone under 21. Thanks to recent amendments, you can enjoy personal, medicinal, and therapeutic use in private. But let's keep our celebration safe and responsible. That means no public sales, no public smoking, and please don't engage with anyone under 21. Let's protect our nation and have a fantastic carnival season. The Cannabis Secretariat, guiding responsible cannabis use and awareness in Grenada. Enjoy and stay safe.
come and get your son.
Back to school shopping just got easier with the National Lotteries Authority's grand back to school promotion. From July 1st to August 15th, turn your Instacash and scratch tickets into chances to win school shopping vouchers. Simply collect $10 or more in Instacash tickets or $10 or more in scratch tickets. Staple them together by game and write your name, address, and contact number. Then drop them off at any authorized lottery location. 50 lucky winners will receive $300 in shopping vouchers for uniforms, books, bags, stationery, shoes, sportswear, and more. Don't throw away those Instacash tickets. They could help you send your child back to school in style. More entries means more chances at winning a total value of $15,000. Draws on Friday, 21st August. Must be 18 or older to participate. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Welcome back, viewers, once again. Of course, the folks of the Child Protection Authority with me this morning and the Community Relations Department. Before the break, I did mention I want us to focus a wee bit on avoiding violence. You know, as one of the artists saying, the season is open. I hope it's not open for that particular thought pattern of individuals, you know, the violence and so forth. Now, what measures would you say is in place by preventing altercations and avoiding that, especially in high density areas and so forth? Talk to me about that from the RGPF perspective on that.
All right, so GT, usually what we would do is to, as we're on our beat, whether it be in the city or at activities, we're usually highly, I should say, observant of persons who we may be aware may have, had certain encounters with the law, but also to the persons that we're not fully aware of or who we may know are repeat offenders. So usually what we would do is we will be at strategic points, observing all areas. So we're not there to partake in the activities in terms of watching the show. We're usually there to pinpoint certain things, or if we notice certain patterns, we usually would, try to rectify those. It starts usually at the events, the screening, the search. We encourage persons, in addition to the offensive weapons, the dangerous instruments. So, for example, your combs, the aerosol sprays, the perfumes, those will not be accepted in the venues because it can also pose a threat. Yeah. With the aerosol cans, we notice that persons will take the lighter for the bulb. With the perfume, they'll take the lighter, which is a fire hazard.
What is the tolerance level of that from the police? Because time to time I do hear, I hope I'm not putting you too much on the spot this morning, we hear this are not permitted at the venue. And we foresee it still happening from time to time.
So what usually happens, we'll have the screening.
Yes.
And somewhere along the line, at the venue, what we've noticed is that persons may decide to, throw it into the venue, and it happens to get there. But what we're trying to do is to stricken our approach when we do that by at least ensuring that we have persons on the outer perimeter as well, looking in to ensure that that doesn't happen. Persons as well, they're a bit sneaky. Yeah. So they may have it in such a place or in such a way whereby we're not aware. Yeah. It may be hazardous items, but the security measures still remain. It's still put in place to ensure that we prevent that from happening. Yeah.
You go through the crowd and take it to all that can happen, right?
Yes, of course. Take it away. Of course.
And I've seen someone lost their hair with that and was severely burned once by that happening. So, it always bothers me when I see events and folks continue to do it. It always bothers me in that way.
Right. The thing is, my watchword is to always have a forgiving heart when you leave your homes. If you know that you may have issues as well with persons at a particular venue, we recommend not using that time as opportune time to also have discords or having disorderly behaviors. We do not recommend leaving your home with cutlass, the knives, the screwdrivers. If you know you're not going to cook, you're not going to farm, you're not going to do carpentry work, leave those items at home as well, because that in itself also poses a threat when we're at the activities. And again, we do our best in terms of ensuring that they're properly screened at the venue, but persons happen to be so crafty in such ways whereby they may enter the venue and they may have those items in our possession. But we are on the lookout. We are pretty much the watchdogs when we're on the ground. So we usually, if we notice that it's in person's possession, you can actually be charged, or in some cases you can be quarantined in such a time. Well, of course the items may be taken from you, and we really don't want for you to have to miss out on the activities.
So true. I want to ask you this also. From time to time we see in fogoers at events, a particular incident is going on. They feel they want to de-escalate the incident that is going. What is your recommendation to individuals in doing that?
We recommend safety first. It's always safety first. We recommend, if it's someone whereby you know them and you think you can have a conversation with them to create that calm and create that environment of cool, you can do so. But at the same time, we recommend informing or getting law enforcement involved. The security persons, they're there as well. Inform them, and we'll actually do our due diligence to ensure that issue is rectified. I will not recommend anyone, if you notice that a person is armed with anything, trying to approach that person and you being posed or you becoming at risk of being injured. Call the law enforcement officers, and we'll be able to deal or address with whatever situation may be occurring at that time.
I want to go back to the Child Protection Authority, ladies, before we move on once again. From time to time, children are left unattended. Not only left unattended, but parents decide, well, I'm going to go out for a wee bit. I'm going to leave my son and daughter alone. We talk about having that individual who you trust. How important it is, how much important it is that you know who you're leaving your sons and daughters with when you're going out even. Maybe just to run to the city to get something. Or you may be going out to an event tonight and you say, well, Mr. John, Miss Mary, I want to leave my son and my daughter with you. The importance of that, of knowing exactly who you're leaving your sons and daughters with.
It is very important. Years ago, we probably could have taken that chance. Yeah. Maybe years ago, to live with a neighbor, a nenen, an uncle, or just a family friend. We have now gone into an era where we have to be so careful, because sometimes who you think you know, you do not really know them.
They're just waiting on that opportunity.
Exactly. How well do you know the people around you? And sometimes we want to go so bad to an event, and carnival is in the air, the festive season, all the songs, the jump up is in the air, that we become very complacent. Our children are our first priority.
Yeah.
And I would say plain out that if you cannot go, you just cannot go.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just have to make that decision, because we might leave our children with somebody that we think are our friends, and they, as you say, are just waiting for that opportunity to hurt and harm our children, and how do you go back from that? The festive season will be over, as the song used to have, when the carnival over. When the carnival over, these children have to live with the scars and the traumas that happen because of your neglect and your negligence. So I am really asking parents to sit back and think and put a plan together. Who are you leaving your children with? Can they stay with auntie? Can they stay with a sister? And if not, and if you cannot find a registered babysitter or a registered nursery, because right now I know a lot of places are doing 24-hour daycare services for the carnival season. So if you cannot find somebody like that, then stay at home, because the carnival will be over and you have to go back to regular life.
There's also the issue of vulnerable people in society also that sometimes get neglected for various reasons. That older uncle, that grandma, whoever is there. The importance of looking out for the vulnerable also in the community, or the importance of that. Who's going to chime in on that for me?
Well, once a man, twice a child. And I would say it's important for everybody. Human rights is human rights. It doesn't matter what your age is. And I always say our society is so small. We're all related cousins. We're all related. And as Ms. Bartholomew said earlier, even if it hits your family, you may have a family member that works with somebody else. So it could be a co-worker or your child's school friend or a teacher or a neighbor. It's not immediately your hurt, but it reaches at home. So it's important to just look out for everybody. Each one help one, I say.
All right. Great to hear that. Tell me, well, I was going to go to this particular segment for the police officer. Respect for the authority. We feel we're having a festive time, and we as I said, alcohol consumption, all that comes into play. I see a police officer. When it's out of season, I may say hi and hello to you, and I feel well. We may have a jokeful conversation from time to time, but respect for authority is supposed to be even and remain at that level always. The importance of having respect for authority, even if it's the festive time.
So a lot of police officers, we live within the same community as civilians, yeah? So we may know a few persons who may decide to, throw a few jokes here and there. And that's okay, yeah? We are professional. And we want to encourage persons to have respect for authority, but just the same, I'm also imploring on my fellow colleagues to be professional and have tact when getting your work done. Yeah. If you know that there is a police officer who you think may not be getting the work done with due diligence, you can either inform a supervisor or you can report it to your nearest police station and they'll give you directives there as to what can be done. That person can also be reported at Community Relations Department. We are located on the Carenage, and we can also be contacted on 405-5324. But respect, it starts with all of us. Yeah. So just as the officer is expected to be professional, just the same we're expecting for civilians to be respectful. We're also asking persons to exercise tolerance. So because that police officer stopped you last week and he approaches you a second time, it doesn't mean that police officer is harassing you. It simply means that we're trying to get our work done. It is the festive season. Okay. You may notice the same person 2, 3, 4 times in a row in a day or in a particular event. Yeah, we are asking persons to be respectful to all authoritative persons, especially our fellow colleagues who may be on the ground.
All right. We moving up just around 8 minutes to go before the top 10. We're going to wrap the show up at 10 a.m. this morning. No, we mentioned it before, during the first period of segment of the conversation. I would like maybe a repeat of it, especially contact numbers for the authority, just in case there's an issue that we have occurred that they want to get in contact. Maybe someone who's listening right now may have missed it. They want to get that, so we get some contact information just in case there's an issue they want to, of course, make that phone call. We know 911 is always available.
24/7.
That is 24 hours a day. That is available, but there's other contact numbers that they can use to contact the authority.
Sure. Our main office number is 435-0293, and again the hotline 533-6990.
All right. So
right, GT, we're also at the RGPF. We're located at different media outlets, so we can also be reached via Facebook, the Royal Grenada Police Force. You can send your messages there, and we're also on Instagram, so you can always send us DMs as well, and we'll be able to address your concerns.
All right. Now, to our listeners and viewers, if you do have a question or two you want to ask my guest this morning, feel free. 435-2041. You have that double option of calling in. You can call in via the WhatsApp or the direct line 435-2041, and of course pose a question or two to my guest this morning if you do have one. 435-2041. We're into the final segment of the show this morning. There's another. Well, do we have a? Let me take that call, and then we will have another question I wanted to ask. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Yeah. Good morning. Thank you for taking my call. Listening to the police and them, the one in the middle, she had said something that her grandmother said, and as I feel good to see young people still having. Hello?
Caller, I think you have a device in the background on, so I think it's kind of throwing you off just a wee bit. You may need to turn it off.
Maybe I have to load on the TV.
Yes, you may have to. Please do so.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph.
Go right ahead, please.
Yeah. So listening to it as an elder, we all look out for you. And the people long times, you didn't like them, but you look out for them to look out for you. When you see them, you're running. You're moving. So, big people people now can see a child in the road and correct them. You know, the mother sit down right there and the children might tell you, mind your business, you're too fast, and the mother sit down right there and then telling the child, hush your mouth. Everybody need a person, whether you're fast or you're fast. So I like to hear what the police and them are saying, and I hope some of the grandparents and the mothers listen. We're living in a world, children is true. Long time had it too, you know, but they had more respect. You don't know who is mothers now and who is children. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. We do have another caller via WhatsApp. Good morning, you're live.
Yes, good morning, GT, and to your guest. I would like to just prepare the officers that in Carnival you see the unexpected. I will give you one example. Many years ago, a mother with a baby rushed to a female police and said, hold this baby for me, hold this child for me, I want to go in the toilet, I want to pee. And she never saw that mother again until after Carnival. So Carnival seems to bring out that in us. So I just wanted to share that to tell the officers, watch out for the unexpected. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We do have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome. Caller, good morning. Welcome. Guess we lost that caller there. Well, hope that doesn't happen this time around. Hope nobody. Hope that doesn't happen this time around. I mean, from the callers we have so far, their point was definitely important in what they said. They didn't make a whole lot of sense in terms of that this morning. 435-2041. 5 minutes moving out before 10 o'clock. Once again, anything that we missed that you want to tap on? Maybe we may have missed something, especially if you ladies from a child protection firm. Maybe have missed that you want to tap in on.
Well, I just want to make special mention, an appeal to the general public. This is off topic a bit.
Yeah.
But we are appealing to the general public. If you, a family member, or anybody you know, may be interested in fostering, there's a lot of displaced children, and we're seeking interested persons to just come forward. We can have a conversation. If you have questions, we are happy to answer. But just the interest, if you're interested, please contact us so that we can, assist with placing these children.
Okay, great. Anything else you want to tap in on?
I want to just tap in on alcoholism, because we spoke about alcohol being an issue in terms of driving and all those things. But alcohol is an issue also when we deal with domestic issues.
Yes.
And these domestic issues, when parents go out and they consume alcohol, they go back home, some of them fall asleep, they don't cook, they don't do anything, some of them go home and they argue and they quarrel, and it affects the children in the home. It causes displacement, it causes harm, and all of those things. So I just want to let people know, yes, a drink here and there, but we have to always remember what is important. As I would reiterate again, this is just a season. Carnival is for a specific time, and we have a whole life ahead of Carnival. After Carnival, our children have to go back to school. A lot of the times I see parents spend all their money during Carnival, and the last week of school, everybody rushing to buy a book, a socks, a shoes, and we forget that these children have to return to school. Be very mindful that our children are very important, that we are not just thinking about the now, but we're thinking about the after the Carnival season.
Great advice there. And I saw they put some whoever listening, give that some consideration.
Yeah. I'd also like to appeal to the bar operators and the vendors to refrain from selling alcohol to minors as well. Same thing applies if you're questioning whether or not they may be an adult. We recommend getting the ID, and if you know that person, you in the back of your mind or at the forefront of your mind, you think that person may be a minor, do not sell alcohol to that person just to make $1. Similarly to the business operators, we are encouraging them to look out for the counterfeit cash. Around this time, you will notice those circulating. If you have to get the UV lights, train your staff as well as to how to go about using those, or the pens to make checks. You do so as well. Keep your business safe. When you're having to transport your cash, ensure that you use different roads, and ensure that you do so with various persons around as well.
All right. We do have another caller, which is probably going to be our final caller for the morning. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Well, Gigi, good morning, and good morning to the officers there. GT, I want to place something regarding this morning. There was Miss McQueen on the show with Innocent. Before I approach the police now, I want to say to the ladies, let a lady be number one for themselves. Don't try to please somebody else. I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, and GT, I am a great-grand. And I want my children and grand and great-grand to be a role model for themselves. If they're going to play mass, I don't know of any, that they will dress appropriate and decent. They will not expose themselves to danger. One. Now, with the police officer speaking there is a lot of negligence on the police behalf, GT. One. When you make a report at the police station, as soon as you finish the report, apparently they throw away the paper. And you cannot trace it back. Check St. Paul's police station, and you report it to the community development community, and they can't find it. And absolutely nothing they can do. And I think this is very bad. There has a 988 number, and you call that 988 number for 3 days. Nobody respond, and in the third day, somebody call. You ignore that call. I think they are doing a good job, some of them, but there are negligence, and you cannot be in that position, in that job, and be in that negligence. At least thanks to them for what they're doing, but they need to pull themselves up somewhat. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You want to respond to the call line?
Yes. So I know the caller indicated that the person may have returned the call at least 3 days after the fact, but what we would recommend doing is getting in contact with us at our department, which is 405-5324. Any leads, any way in which we can assist that caller would be able to do so. Let me just say this as well. If persons are calling into the station and they haven't received an update or they're not satisfied with the person that they're speaking with at the time, they can also request to speak with the supervisor.
Okay. All right. Ladies, we get to take a wrap for today. Anything in closing before we take a wrap this morning? Starting with the Child Protection Authority.
I just wanted to appeal to the adults. We're back on alcohol. Purchasing the alcohol to give to these children, simply put, stop it.
Yeah.
I went to an event recently, and it was alarming the amount of underage children that was drinking Rude Boy, this Rude Boy pandemic. Please, stop it.
All right. Anything from you?
Well, again, I would say I'm a community person. I like my community. Big up to Willis community. I'm a community person, and I just want to say that please put your children first.
Okay.
Put your children. School is opening soon, as I said. Yes, we have to go there and dance and enjoy ourselves. But just remember that our children have a future, and they are the future of tomorrow. And we have to do whatever it takes to keep them protected and keep them safe. And again, if you go home and you're tired, do not light the stove. We've been having a lot of fires of late. One I know of, a child tried to cook something. So do not light the stove. If you're tipsy and you think that you're tired, take a rest. Do not try to that. You eat cricks, eat bread and cheese. There's nothing wrong with that. Drink some juice.
You can prepare something.
Yeah, or prepare something beforehand. So when you come, it's just to eat. Do not light the stove, and just be careful, be mindful, and be safe this carnival season.
All right, sure, true. Anything from you else?
Yes, of course. Let safety and peace be your watchwords for this carnival season. Look out for one another. We encourage persons, especially the females, to have a trusted friend to go to events with you. Be careful and be aware and alert as to who you may be accepting drinks from, especially if it's alcohol. There is a tomorrow. the following day, the following week, persons will have to return to their job. So we want to ensure that everyone is kept safe and everyone is able to enjoy the festivities whilst doing so in an orderly fashion.
All right. Once again, thank you, folks, for being on the program this morning, and I certainly hope our listening and viewing audience do understand the information that we disseminate this morning and make a lot of use of it for a lot of use. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, folks, that's where we're going to wrap up today's edition of To The Point. Thanks all who contributed towards today's program. Have a good one, folks. That's where I say goodbye.